Ghosts for sale. It started with a promise no one could resist: reconnect with the lost. Speak with the dead. Closure, guaranteed. Paranormics Incorporated, a sleek tech giant from San Jose, claimed they had done the impossible: digitized the afterlife. Not holograms, not cheap parlor tricks, but real spirits of your deceased loved ones, uploaded, stored, and fully interactive. The commercials showed weeping daughters embracing shimmering apparitions of their mothers, old friends reunited across the veil. The website was disturbingly clinical. Packages started at $15,000 for a limited interaction, scaling up to lifetime subscriptions, a grotesque term when talking about the dead. They even had a tier called Haunting Deluxe, promising visceral presence and emotional intensity. No one seemed to wonder how Paranormics found the spirits they sold. People just wanted to believe. Ethan Cross, a war veteran from Colorado Springs, bought in. His brother, Jamie, had died in Afghanistan, and guilt gnawed at him like frostbite ever since. The night his package arrived, he expected something dignified, a ritual, a summoning. Instead, it was a small black device, no bigger than a smart speaker, with a button marked "Awaken." No candles. No Latin chants. Just technology. Ethan pressed it. At first, the device did nothing. A faint hum. Then, the temperature in the room dipped. Not freezing. Just wrong. Like the air itself was bruised. Then, Jamie's voice. "E? You there?" Ethan nearly dropped the device. The voice was perfect, not just the sound, but the pauses, the scratch in the throat Jamie always had when he was nervous. He spoke back, heart pounding, and the conversation was like picking up from the last voicemail Jamie had left. Except, Jamie shouldn't have known about Ethan's divorce. Or the way Mom's health had declined last Christmas. "Dude, I'm here," Jamie said with a weird finality. "I've been watching. I'm with you. Always." The next few days felt like a miracle. Ethan left the device on constantly, talking to Jamie at night, reliving old memories. Except Jamie didn't just answer questions. He started making observations. "The mail's late today. You forgot your keys. That woman on the corner, the red coat? She's watching you." It was unnerving. But nothing compared to what came next. Late one night, Ethan awoke to a thump. Not from the device. From the hallway. When he grabbed his phone's flashlight and checked, the hall mirror was fogged over. A handprint. Wet. Not his. Jamie's voice crackled from the speaker. "I told you, E, I'm here." But something in the voice had changed. Thicker. Hungrier. And then came the knock on the front door. Ethan hesitated, pulse hammering in his throat as the knocks echoed again, steady, deliberate. He had convinced himself, or tried to, that it was some trick of the device, a malfunction maybe. Paranormics had mentioned emotional intensity in the premium package, but this felt wrong. The street outside was dead silent, the snowdrift swallowing any sound. Yet the knocking kept coming, not from the front door, but somewhere deeper in the house. The voice from the device whispered again, softer now, almost pleading. "Open it, E. I just want to see you." A chill crept down his spine. He hadn't told it to activate. He hadn't pressed awaken. The device sat lifeless on the coffee table, the LED screen black, power cord still unplugged from last night. Yet Jamie's voice lingered, as if the device was only a suggestion now, as if he had let something inside that no longer needed the technology to reach him. The knocking grew louder, a slow, rhythmic pulse. Ethan followed the sound down the dim hallway, heart a leaden drum in his chest. When he reached the mirror, the same one that had fogged the night before, his stomach knotted. This time, it wasn't fogged. It was bleeding. A slow trickle of crimson from the edges of the glass, thick and unnatural, seeping like the mirror itself was a wound struggling to close. A sharp metallic scent clung to the air. No source. No rational explanation. Then, the device crackled back to life, untouched. Static rippled from its speaker, and Jamie's voice returned. "I told you, E. I'm here. I never left." But it wasn't Jamie. Not fully. The voice was deeper, thick with a strange resonance, like two voices layered over each other. One was Jamie's. The other, older. Harsher. Wrong. Ethan yanked the power cord completely from the wall this time, heart pounding in his throat. The voice stopped, but the mirror kept weeping. He wiped at it with a towel, but the red streaks only smeared. The air felt heavy, charged with static, like the room itself was holding its breath. The next morning, after a sleepless, nerve-shredding night, Ethan contacted Paranormic's support. The rep, cheerful but eerily robotic, listened to his complaint with scripted patience. Minor spectral anomalies are common during the bonding phase. Refrain from disconnecting the device while the connection stabilizes. Complete immersion can result in emotional bleed-through. Disruptions are temporary. Stabilizes? Emotional bleed-through? The phrasing gnawed at him, clinical and evasive. He hadn't signed up for this, not for haunted mirrors and phantom voices. He tried to power through the next few days, convincing himself it was paranoia. But the presence only grew stronger. The voice returned, not just from the device but leaking into every crack of his life, the whisper of the television static when it was off, the low hum in the pipes at night. Shadows flickered just beyond the edges of his vision, twisting in ways light shouldn't behave. And then there were the handprints, no longer fogged outlines but distinct, wet marks on the windows, on the ceiling above his bed, and worst of all, on the inside of his bathroom mirror where no hands had any right to reach. The voice changed too. At first, it was still Jamie, or close enough to fool his heart. But more and more, there was a distortion beneath it, a rasping undercurrent like broken glass scraping over metal. One night, as he sat on the edge of his bed with the device silent beside him, the voice whispered directly into his ear, no speaker, no wires. Just raw sound. "You forgot your keys, E. Check the kitchen counter." And he had. They were right there, where he hadn't left them. That was when he realized Jamie wasn't just speaking. He was watching. Something was watching. The next night, he woke at 3:14 a.m. sharp, lungs tight, skin damp with cold sweat. A presence loomed, thick and pressing. The mirror was fogged again, but this time, words had appeared on the glass, scrawled in streaks of moisture, "Let me in." And behind him, in the reflection, a shadow shifted. Not his own. Taller. Blurred. Smiling. Ethan didn't sleep after that. He sat in the living room, the unplugged device still on the table, watching it like a grenade with the pin half pulled. The words on the mirror haunted him, "Let me in." They hadn't been a question. They were a demand. And the reflection, that twisted smear of something smiling, he couldn't shake it. He couldn't stop thinking about the way it seemed to lean closer each time he looked away, as if waiting for him to blink. By dawn, he had made up his mind. Paranormics. Full refund. Cancellation. Whatever was happening, it wasn't a glitch. It was something older, darker than any marketing campaign could explain. But when he checked the Paranormics site, his account page was wrong. His subscription tier was gone. In its place, a message. Connection established. No termination possible. No customer support links. No refunds. No opt-out. A scraping sound echoed from the kitchen, a slow, deliberate dragging against the tile. Ethan spun around, but the room was empty. Almost. The kitchen chairs had been moved. All 6. Arranged in a perfect circle, facing inward, like some macabre summoning ritual. And in the center of the circle sat the device, though he hadn't touched it since smashing the cord. It was glowing again. "I'm here, E." Jamie's voice rasped from it, but it wasn't Jamie anymore. Ethan felt it then, a pull, not physical but heavier, deep inside his chest, like some invisible thread binding him to the device, the circle, the thing inside it. Not a memory. Not his brother. Something using him. And he had let it in. He grabbed the device, half expecting it to burn his hands, but it was cold. Dead weight. Still, the voice hissed louder, distorted, writhing. You called me back, E. You wanted this. The chairs groaned, sliding an inch closer together on their own. The circle was closing. Frantic, he ran to the garage, grabbing the heaviest thing he could find, his old clawhammer. He brought it down on the device with everything he had. The casing cracked, sparks spitting from the broken shell, but the voice didn't stop. Instead, it laughed. Low. Guttural. Ancient. The walls trembled. And from the mirror down the hall, where the fog had started swirling once more, a shape began to press through. Long fingers. Hollow eyes. You let me in, Ethan. Now I decide when it ends. And the lights went out. Darkness swallowed the room, thick and absolute, as if the very walls had caved inward. Ethan's breath came shallow, ragged, the hammer slick in his trembling grip. Somewhere in the void, the voice echoed, not just from the broken device, but from everywhere, folding over itself in overlapping layers. Jamie's voice twisted and decayed beneath the deeper one, hollow as grave soil. You wanted him back, Ethan. But I was here first. A chill like frostbite seeped into his bones, that unnatural wrongness pressing closer. The sound of footsteps, bare, slow, against the hardwood. From the mirror. From inside it. And then the whisper. Let me show you what real haunting means. The fog bloomed again on the mirror, but this time, it pushed outward. Fingers. A pale, skeletal hand emerged, pressing against the glass from the other side. The surface stretched like skin, bowing outward with a wet creak. Ethan didn't think. He ran. Stumbling into the hallway, heart slamming against his ribs, he crashed into the wall, fingers scrambling for the breaker box. His breath came in sharp bursts. When he flicked the switch, the light snapped on, harsh and unforgiving, a sterile brightness slicing through the gloom. But the mirror. The hand was gone. No fog. No blood. Just his reflection. But as he stared, waiting, disbelieving, his reflection smiled. Not him. It wasn't over. Whatever had crossed, it hadn't left. It was inside. Watching. Waiting. Ethan staggered back. He could still hear Jamie's voice, faint but clearer now, from somewhere just beyond the glass. Pleading. Desperate. E, help me. It's not me, don't let it. The mirror cracked. A single, thin fracture. But the smile remained. And somewhere, beneath the glass, something whispered. You let me in. Now you'll never be alone again.